Romshinators, it is so good to be back speaking with you once again. Today is a beautiful day, and my mind is filled with thoughts of Canadian government propaganda exercises gone wrong, where a bunch of silly government officials just did a silly little thing where they put loudspeakers in the woods to play wolf sounds to scare a small Nova Scotia town into thinking they had a fake wolf epidemic. I haven't heard anyone talk about this. I don't want this channel to be a conspiracy channel. I don't want it to be a propaganda exercise channel. I don't want to talk about the government, but this is a bit too silly to be ignored. This is crazy. Today we're going to read an article written by the Ottawa Citizen. I don't know if this is a reputable magazine or newspaper. I have no idea. It could be like The Onion. It could be completely fake. But I refuse to research that because this is simply too silly and I want it to be real. So please get yourself comfortable because we're about to dive into the world of military propaganda exercises carried out on small maritime towns. Let's light a little incense here. You know, a lot of people think they need the whole incense, but they don't. You just need to light a little bit. Let's get a little bit of smoke going on. It's gonna get all on your clothes, all on your hair. Everywhere you go, people will think you're a dirty, greasy hippie who has crystals all over his bed. So that's how I like to come across. That's what we're doing. Thank you for listening to Romshii Radio. Welcome back to the living part of the internet. Forgive me, if you will, if I read this news article off my phone. We all know that phones are evil and that they influence your mind in negative ways, but we're using it for education right now. We're using it in a positive way so that we can be aware of propaganda, using the world's greatest propaganda machine. This is how you fight the system. Get ready. I'm gonna have a sip of tea and let's get into the vibe. Oh my God. Military propaganda exercise that caused panic about wolves on the loose lacked oversight, investigation finds. I wonder who was doing the investigation. Was it themselves? I'm gonna guess it was. I don't know though. This is hearsay. I don't know. A Canadian Forces propaganda exercise that panicked residents in Nova Scotia with tales of wolves on the loose was the result of incompetence and soldiers acting without authorization, a newly released military investigation has revealed. The September 2020 exercise, which was supposed to test the use of loudspeakers during propaganda training, descended into a comedy of errors. This is crazy. Sorry guys, while we were doing our propaganda exercises, we just bungled it so badly that we put loudspeakers in the woods and tested wolf sounds out, and we sort of one thing led to another, and now everybody thinks it's just insane. A comedy of errors. The words comedy of errors and propaganda exercise should not exist in the same serious news article. You shouldn't be cutting these guys so much slack. This is ridiculous. Most of the members of the propaganda unit involved in the exercise were untrained in how to conduct what the military calls influence activities, the investigation determined. Sorry guys, we investigated it. It looks like these guys were a bunch of idiots. We're sorry. The propaganda unit was untrained. We don't know where we caught these guys. They must have just been they were janitors, and then we moved them to propaganda. Come on. I'm not an idiot. Still, they developed a scenario to test the loudspeakers by generating wolf noises, although the reason for selecting those types of sounds wasn't clear. Very carefully worded article. This is insane. Imagine those guys going to their local music store, to their local speaker rental depot, and just renting these speakers, these big military guys, these big blockheads, these untrained propaganda unit people apparently. these idiots, these propaganda unit idiots. Oh my God, they're walking in, they're like bumping into stuff like, sorry, I'm doing a propaganda exercise to influence the Canadian people. Oh, those are those silly propaganda unit guys again, here to rent some speakers. What is it this time? Wolf noises? Wow. This is real. This is a real article. No one talked about this. Nobody knows about this. Then at the last minute, an officer in the Influence Activities Unit, now it's called an Influence Activities Unit, I thought it was a propaganda unit, came up with the idea of forging a document using the letterhead of the Wildlife Division of Nova Scotia's Department of Lands and Forestry. The letter was warning to local residents, claiming wolves had been reintroduced into the area by the provincial and federal governments and were now roaming the Annapolis Valley. So first of all, look at this wording, and then at the last minute of what? You still haven't told us what the intended thing was. Why was there a last minute? Why is there a last minute involving tricking a town into thinking there was wolves? Or you clearly were doing a propaganda exercise. What was it? Come clean. Tell me what it was. The unit had no authorization to produce the letter and did so without approval, either from the Canadian Forces leadership or the Nova Scotia government, according to the summary investigation into the incident. Again, who's investigating? Originally, the plan was to have the document only for use during the training. Hey guys, I made this document. It's only for training. It's just for you to see. Look, it's really good. I did a really good forgery. So now the document was only for use during training. And then up here it says last minute a guy came up with the idea to forge the document. I'm confused. But unknown to the unit, a military member not involved in the training exercise took a photo of the letter and, thinking it was real, sent it to his wife. The military spouse then distributed the letter to neighbors to warn them about the wolves, according to the investigation. Everything here is like, according to investigation. Oh geez, according to the investigation, it was all just a crazy mix-up. These guys are buffoons. Have you seen the influence activities guys? They're beating their heads with hammers. They got boogers coming out of their nose. That was my investigation. As a result, the Nova Scotia government started receiving phone calls from concerned residents. Yeah, no shit. Planning... This is ridiculous. Are you guys taking this in? Planning, coordination, and control before and during the training lacked oversight, concluded the investigation, which was released through the Access to Information Law. Junior staff were employed for roles they were either not qualified for or experienced in. When I was young, I'm a man now. I'm 46. When I was young, 18, 19, I used to terrorize the town. I used to put up fake posters that said cougar on the loose. I used to scare my neighbors. I would sit outside my neighbors' houses making fucked up noises going, make them think there's fucking weirdos outside their house, watch them scramble out of their houses, be like, These are small town people. These are small town people. If you ever want to scare someone in a small town, do anything. They're not used to it, okay? They're not used to anything. They're used to just peace and quiet. Nova Scotia government officials who didn't know the military was behind the deception had to conduct a social media campaign to brand the letter as fake and reassured residents there was no danger. That's ridiculous. So now the Nova Scotia government didn't know it was the army. There's no coordination here. Hey, so I can't even do the voices anymore. This is so silly. I hope you guys are getting the gravity of how silly this is. I really hope this is tracking how silly this is. This is my favorite part. The Army has temporarily paused most of its specialist propaganda training, except for staff going on overseas missions. So now the Canadian government's doing propaganda training. I thought at the beginning of this article it said propaganda exercises or something, but apparently it's just training. This was just a training exercise. So now they're just doing them overseas. It is improving oversight to monitor such exercises and training. Administrative action was also taken against the officer in charge of the exercise. Oh, we're gonna move you. No more propaganda for you. You're going straight to war. I'm sorry, boss. I rented the loudspeakers, I made the wolf sounds. I didn't know it would be a comedy of errors. Please don't make me go to war. Oh my God. There's a whole lot left to this article that we're not going to read because it gets more serious. It goes into things I don't want to talk about on Romshii Radio. Let's just take a second to think about what we've just learned, what we've just heard. I feel all worked up. Reading that, it makes me mad. I get all worked up. I think I have to make some music to kind of blow some steam off here. All I did was read an article and do some funny voices. Unless the Ottawa Citizen is a joke newspaper, I mean, maybe it is. They really got me. More of a joke than those fools at the propaganda unit, am I right? Those idiots in the propaganda influence activities unit? They'll hire anyone there. It's a comedy of errors. This is so beautiful. I want to just thank you so much for watching this video. If you've made it this far, I'd like you to please comment down below. I will not fall for influence activities run by actual buffoons. I didn't say a real word. I'm messing up my words because whenever I make the music, I go into another state. whenever I go into the instrumental sections, I leave the world of words. I leave the world of human thoughts, and I flow within the goo of the galaxy, within the goo of the universe. And the fact that I tried to return to Earth to ask you to make a comment down below shows that I still have much spiritual work to do. But yes, if you are watching this, I do really appreciate it. I appreciate your support so much, because I have such an incredible time making these sounds and speaking these words. This is truly a gift to be able to communicate like this in the modern age. You know, I do wonder if the woman I saw taking a shit in my backyard the other day, I wonder if that was a government agent. I wonder if her shitting in my backyard was the Canadian government's way of making me think I live in a bad neighborhood. Because she was shitting into a bag, like a grocery bag, so she wasn't shitting on the floor. She didn't want to leave any DNA evidence. Yet she still came into my backyard to shit into a bag. So something's kind of suspicious there. Ever since I started researching this article, I've been looking at things a little bit differently. Like, are government agents walking through my neighborhood at 3 a.m. throwing needles on the ground? Are they hiring actors to smoke crack outside of the grocery store? I don't know. Everything is a question now. Everything is a question, because I know that there is influence activities, influence campaigns. I know there's propaganda units run by absolute morons, apparently. Bunch of young bucks running around, renting speakers, putting them on roofs, playing loud sex sounds, so I think my neighbors are absolute freaks. And I start to get weird feelings, like I don't want to look at them when I walk out the house. So they're trying to make me hate my neighbors by playing loud sex music through the wall. And they're making me think I live in a bad neighborhood by shitting in my backyard and throwing needles everywhere and smoking crack outside the grocery store. Do they go on every streetcar and take a piss at the front end and the back end, so every time I get on a streetcar it just reeks of piss and I start to think that I live in a bad city? Are these propaganda campaigns? I certainly hope they are. Listen, if you've watched this far, I have a special treat for you. Get ready. Get ready. I'm going to have another sip of coffee. See, this is what I'm saying. This is punk rock entertainment. Because I'm not doing fast cuts. I don't get to the point right away. In this world of absolutely cooked attention spans, we got to just chill out. If I say there's a surprise, you need to say, oh, there's a surprise coming. And you just have to chill for a bit. Don't switch off. This is for your own good, mister. Okay, I want you to just chill. Just chill with me here for a second. I have a surprise. If you've made it this far in the video, just give me a second, I'll get it out for you. It's an electric kazoo, baby. You didn't think I'd forget about you, did ya? Now, there's a story behind this, you see, because I grew up in a kazoo family. My father was a great kazoo player. My mother, obviously, they called her a kazoo chaser. She would just follow the kazoo players around the world, going to town. And my father was the hottest kazoo player at the time. He was truly incredible at what he did. And from a young age, I was very pressured to get good at the kazoo. And it made me resent the kazoo a little bit, because I remember, you know, when I would get a note wrong on the kazoo, my father would just start fucking whipping kazoos at me, like those cheap little plastic ones, and I would just be curled up in a ball in the corner and just be whipping them at me, being like, you'll never be as good as me. You'll never find a fucking wife. And it took me a long time, a lot of therapy, to kind of be able to even hold a kazoo again without shaking like a leaf. And I'm glad to be able to say I'm over that now. This is all untrue. My father is an incredible man. And here we go. Thank you so much for listening, Romshinators. If you've made it this far, please comment down below. I'm not scared of wolves. Let's just say that. Have a fantastic rest of your day. I have truly loved spending this time with you in the living part of the internet, where we take our time, where we listen to nice, calm music, and where we overcome our fears of the electric and acoustic kazoo, and of government propaganda exercises. So thank you so much, Romshinators. I will see you in the next episode. This one has a noisy pot, watch. Not too bad. Goodbye.